going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Noodle Time, episode 164. I am your host, Mark Segovia, alongside Andres, and for a second week in a row, a special guest, Xespool. What's going on, Xespool?
What's up, y'all? Over here, just chilling, ready to talk about the Dynamo. Uh, and, happy to be here with y'all. What a better way to do something on Thursdays.
Love, love the mask, man. Love the mask.
Thank you. It's a little special occasion, Day of the Dead. I went to the Day of the Dead festival with my woman a couple of weekends ago. And I said, hey, let me bring out the mask and of course, celebrate with the, you know,
Does
Philly shirt.
does Mrs. Cesspool wear a mask too?
Oh, no, bro. She's fearless. And plus, bro, she's gorgeous, so she doesn't have to wear one.
That's
Like
awesome.
I have to wear one because y'all know me.
Yeah, shout out to Mrs. Cesspool. Andres, what's going on, buddy?
Hey Mark, welcome back, sir. It's been a while since
Yeah.
we were able to talk with each other, but so happy that you've been able to enjoy your trip to Europe and also back on board for
What a trip,
no
bro.
time off season mode.
Appreciate you. Yeah, with that being said, Andres, obviously, you weren't here last week, so, I had a couple of thoughts that I wanted to get off my chest about the Dynamo season ending and all that good stuff. And obviously, you can catch that on our YouTube page and obviously all the podcasts and all the other ways that you can connect with us and watch our shows or listen to our shows. But with that being said, obviously, we are in the off season as far as the Dynamo go. MLS is in the middle of their playoffs. I actually have a question I want to ask about the playoffs, but I'll ask it later on. But a little bit of news that kind of dropped on us this morning from one Tom Bogert. Our own Brooklyn Reigns being scouted by European elites. City Football Group, which is obviously the group that owns Manchester City, Girona, and La Liga, obviously NYCFC here in MLS, Melbourne City in Australia, and Juventus, one of the biggest clubs in Europe and one of the biggest clubs in Italy, is said to have
The biggest.
a lot of interest in Brooklyn Reigns. So, I mean, obviously, when you have those type of clubs hovering around your player, there's a lot to talk about. Obviously, we know the type of impact that he had at the U20 World Cup with the U20 national team. One of the leaders of that team. Andres, I'll start with you when we're talking about this. You weren't here last week. We were talking about scenarios about whether or not if a transfer fee came in for not McKinney, for Brooklyn Reigns and for McGlynn and stuff like that. Would you take it? What would you do if you were Pat, et cetera, et cetera? What are your thoughts on the news as far as like Juventus and like City Football Group being involved with possibly getting Brooklyn over to Europe?
He was gonna get the type of interest regardless, because it's already been a few seasons with the Dynamo. But even then, if you looked at the numbers, if you looked at him play, he has been progressively improving over time. Of course, coming off of being out of the Barca academy to here, and Ben also giving him enough opportunities to prove himself, just so he can get back in the group of things and represent the national team in a way that, he almost started all the games. He only missed like one game where he didn't play in the last group stage game, but he was still insane. Like obviously scoring that banger against France, it's nothing to.
Yeah,
By the way, it's like no big deal. You scored against France, by the way. So like it shows you the type of player that he is, the type of quality that he has holding on the midfield. But of course, it's amazing news that City Football Group and Juventus are interested in bringing him on. Of course, OSG and I, we talked a little bit earlier about what we expect of him. If he was going to sign a new deal, I fully expected the Dynamo to bring him back in the offseason because he does have an option for 2026. But of course, the type of interest from outside the club, especially in Europe, brings in a new dimension, or rather like a new perspective. Because will you take the deal now? Will you try to get Brooklyn Reigns to sign a new extension to hopefully improve his value, or if that's something that was in the works already. It remains to be seen, but of course, we fully expected him to get that type of attention, and of course, over the next couple seasons, probably this year or by the time the season starts, he might not be here, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But of course,
Let's
that
hope
means
he is,
that means
at least.
more than anything, money.
Yeah, for sure.
Money, 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 money.
Xespool, you were here with us last week when we were talking about the situation possibly arising. Obviously, we didn't expect a huge club like Juventus or Man City being in the fold, but now that you have a face to the suitors and you see what kind of clubs they are. I mean, obviously, last week we were talking about maybe somewhere around 4 to 5 mil for Brooklyn. Now, I mean, does that jump up a little higher now, given the suitors that are coming after him, and obviously his age? He's young. He's 20 years old. Like I said, he's proven himself in the international stage as far as the World Cup with the U20s and all that good stuff. Your thoughts on Brooklyn, and what do you expect to see happen?
Ooh. I don't think they're the only ones. I would hope they're not. Mainly because I think all his interest, if anything, came because of how well he played in the World Cup. I mean, the U.S. did an incredible job in the World Cup, and then him himself, every single game was just outstanding. So I think that's where the interest comes from. Um, Last episode, I think I told you what, like 10 mil for him. I'm a little delusional at times, I would admit. With that being said,
We've seen the overprice our own players, but hey, I like it.
no, because potentially, I mean, I come from business, right? So we always start you top sell, right? So you want to shoot high, and then okay, you're low. We meet in the middle. But I do. I mean, 7 mil, 6 mil, 8 mil, any one of those would be perfect for him. But the only one thing I would hate for it to happen was for Citigroup to take over and send him to NYC. You know, I could see that happening. And so, but other than that, it's awesome for us. It puts us, it secures us even more economically because we're already in great position coming into the season. So imagine, yeah, we're gonna take a piece like Reigns away, but we're in the market for MCs anyways, right?
You know,
So
yeah.
go ahead.
The fact that you brought up NYCFC, there were also alongside the report was that there was an actual MLS club interested in him as well, and
No, there were
obviously,
actually several, not just one. They said MLS clubs and Man City Group and Juve. So it's not just NYC, and that's what, or
I wasn't saying it
one,
was NYC. I wasn't saying it
No,
was
no,
NYC.
my bad. I'm saying it wasn't just one. It's a couple at least, and so it scares me to think that Citigroup is in the mix, and to have them send one of those two teams potentially be NYC.
Yeah.
It would be
Well,
devastating to us.
I think it's one of those things where, like, obviously the mechanisms that open up in MLS, especially the one that we used last year to get Jack McGlynn to the Dynamo from Philadelphia Union, exist. So obviously those MLS clubs that are interested in Brooklyn will probably try to use some kind of similar mechanism, and it could be
Hmm.
it could be helpful because obviously you can use it as far as helping
Yeah, more leverage.
helping increase the value for the European clubs that are trying to get them over, because obviously, yeah, we can transfer within the league now, and can expect a bigger return as far as like if he's dealt later on, like the whole Jack McGlynn deal. Obviously, 50% of the future sales is going to Philadelphia. If especially if his value goes up and it continues to go up, it's a
Oh,
good
it will.
investment for Philadelphia and for the Dynamo. So maybe something like that exists as far as him going to another MLS club if the European clubs don't come in and just swoop in and just offer the Dynamo some kind of
Which
deal
for Reigns will
they
be the
can't
best.
refuse. Say it again. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. For Reigns, honestly speaking, the best thing that could happen is go get picked up by a European team. If you're not good enough to make it in that first team, at least you're gonna get loaned out,
Best
or
case
you have the
scenario,
option to stay in
Yeah.
Dynamo one season or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I
there
mean,
are a lot of possibilities.
obviously that's going to be between a conversation between himself and his representatives to see what the best opportunity is for him and
Come on,
in
get
his
in camera.
future. What's shout out to G Money. What's going on, buddy? Thank you for joining us in the chat. But yeah, man,
G-Money.
it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, it's in the early stages and all that good stuff. Mrs.
So
Cesspool,
Mrs. Cesspool was saying,
how
Mrs.
you
what
doing?
was y'all saying about her? No, they were saying if you wear a mask too. I was like, no, she's gorgeous. She won't have to wear a mask.
Shout out to Mrs. Cesspool. But yeah, obviously it's in the early stages
Everything's good.
of stuff and stuff. So obviously it's the beginning, and a lot of things can happen from here until the start of the season. And obviously, do we expect more clubs to be involved, more foreign clubs, more international clubs to be involved? I expect it, obviously. And at the end of the day, it's a big off season for the Dynamo, and as Pat and Asher have mentioned in prior interviews and other programs, that they're looking to go hit a home run this week, this off season, and think big. And obviously they say that they have the pool of cash to be able to go out there and do that. And then obviously if you do transfer a player like Brooklyn Reigns and add to that pile of cash with the transfer fee that you get from him, it just makes it that dream even much more real, possible, I guess. So we'll see what happens with that, man. But any final thoughts, Andres, on Brooklyn as far as what you would like to see, and how much, what number would you like to see the Dynamo get for him?
I mean, if we're talking 7 digits, I feel like it's gonna be a huge win regardless. And the good thing about this is with enough interest from different clubs, I feel like that only is gonna increase the value. So that's great. And more so, one of the things I wanted to answer, because G Money did ask in the chat about if there's like a max amount of for interleague you can spend. I'm guessing this has to do with a new straight cash deals that came into place last year, or the mechanism that we use for Jack McGlynn. And
Yeah, I think
don't believe I don't. Yeah,
sorry about that. Go ahead.
no, you're good. Yeah, I don't think there's a limit on that. It's more so depending on what you do as a club, if you want to spend that much as hard cash, because of course there's the allocation money, which is limited depending on clubs, and we do have a bunch rolling over to next year, so there's a ton of
I
things you can
got
do. Yeah,
I got something to add to that. There's actually not a limit on the economic side when it comes to trading the player, but there is a limit on the amount of players that you can actually do. Uh, and you can only do up to 2 players, and you can only do away up to 2 players as well. So there is a limit as far as the amount of guys that can, or the volume of players, not so much the amounts of money.
for
Yeah.
hard cash deals, just
Yeah,
sure.
because
Okay.
I think obviously the deal that we know, I think we paid what, $2 million for Jack from Philadelphia, but I think Sporting Kansas City and LA Galaxy did a $4 million for Jovic, their leading goal scorer last season. So
Which, I mean, little by little, you're gonna see those amounts year over year creep up. I can see
yeah, of course,
those 4 mils. Yeah,
yeah, because I
as
mean,
teams are getting more accustomed, like, oh, how about this? Yeah, they're
no,
getting more used to it.
it's not just that. I mean, you got players who outgrow their contracts, and you can't offer them the contract that you would like to give them because obviously you have bigger ambitions or you have bigger players on those contracts. So, obviously you can't have a full team of all stars like that. But but it's a great mechanism that MLS put in place. What's going on, Omar? Welcome to the chat, man. Appreciate you checking us out live.
Saludos pa'l pibe.
But yeah. Speaking of World Cups and representation and Dynamo youth players, I know Andres is excited about this news. One of our Dynamo youth is going to be representing his home country of Venezuela. Andres, I'll let you take the reign on this, obviously, because you have more information and knowing more about this sequence of events. So go ahead, bud.
Yes, sir. David Garcia, Dynamo, those forward. A striker that I've been seeing a lot of minutes, not just with those, but also the under-17 national team, which earlier this week that they played their first under-17 World Cup game against England. We gave them a good shellacking 3-0, which was a fantastic result. And look, early in the game, it was pretty tight because England came in pretty quickly. They came in with a ton of attack, but Venezuela, man, they held on. They put the game away with 2 goals first, and then they scored the third one later on into the second half. I mean, it was fantastic. David Garcia, though, he only played for 13 minutes in the second half. But other than that, like I said, he's been getting a ton of minutes with the national team before the U17 World Cup, and we do play Egypt tomorrow. So I don't. He may play a few minutes. He may have a bigger role depending on the approach. But the U17 national team, man, is doing pretty good. We expect big things.
Yeah, especially against a club like, well, a country like England, which those English youth players are playing Premier League or Championship level football, which is top level and all that good stuff. And obviously, some of them are from big academies, from throughout the landscape of Britain, and all that good stuff. So, it's a good show out for the Venezuelan club, and props to them. And and hopefully David Garcia gets a more opportunity versus Egypt. Xespool, what's going on, man?
Bro, it's amazing because I go week by week to see him. Like it's crazy to see him what he's doing now at that level. And I remember last year when he had just was brought in, towards the end of the season, and he's been doing amazing. I'm very happy for him. And then England, bro. um, now, ¿qué hizo Venezuela? Venezuela le rompió la taza a England, and that was that. I honestly expect to see him more against Egypt because Egypt was a more manageable team. But Andres knows the national team more, so.
Yeah, for sure. Any last comments on David Garcia?
Pa'lante, boludo.
Yeah, we got a big game tomorrow. Like AJ is no joke either, so I feel like we got a good test coming up, and hopefully David gets more minutes.
Shout out to David, and hopefully, like I said, he has a good experience in the U17 World Cup with Venezuela, and hopefully the Venezuelan coaching staff gives him an opportunity to show off his skills and give him the opportunity so that way he can showcase what he can do. But with that being said, guys, obviously this, when we're in the off season, when there's no playoffs and stuff like that, the show topics are kind of slow, dimmer. The topics get kind of redundant and things of that nature. So we wanted to do something a little different this show, and I'm pretty sure after today's episode, we won't be on a weekly basis. We'll kind of come back on when something big happens or something worthy of topic comes about where we can run a whole show. But obviously, we're gonna take the reins here, and we're gonna try to pass out our Foxtrot trophies for this season, for this 2025 season of the Dynamo, the 20th anniversary that kind of went down the crapper. But but at the end of the day, there were still glimpses of hope. There was still highlights. There was still good play. There was still good memories. Obviously not as many good memories as we would like, but some good stuff that happened. First and foremost, give me a sec, guys. 1 second. But with that being said, obviously we're gonna do 4 categories. We're gonna do newcomer of the year, defender of the year, a golden boot, which we all know is going to be Ezekiel Ponce, but we can talk more of him later on, and then MVP. So with that, and then
I think we should be the MVPs. The whole supporter group.
The fans have the MVPs, man.
I'm just saying.
You can talk about it. You can talk about it when we get to that trophy. But I'll come with you first, Andres. Newcomer of the year. We had a shit ton of a lot of newcomers, a shit ton of them. Obviously, some made a bigger impact than others. Some just came in just to come in, and some they saw, and they left. So I mean, a lot of different type of newcomers for the 20th anniversary of the Dynamo. But your thoughts on newcomer of the year? If you can throw out one or two names out there, and then who, obviously at the end, who do you pick as your newcomer of the year?
Newcomer of the year for our consolation trophy is gonna be Jack McGlynn. There's really nothing else we can say. This is a Jack McGlynn award right here. I mean, we kind of expected him to.
That's what we're gonna call it.
The Jack McGlynn award. You kind of expected him to to improve the team slightly. And before the start of the season, we kind of expected the team to not just improve in the midfield, but also bring in more experience. And Jack McGlynn, of course, we kind of saw that as a move for the future, because we kind of knew that he was a national team player that has a high ceiling, and he ended up being the best player on the team. And for the occasion of being newcomer, it's kind of, well, on one side, it's kind of like, it's sad that he was our best newcomer player, because we had so many players with experience. But on the other hand, it's also good that he was a big presence in the midfield, because we struggled so hard with the possession of the ball and just creating those type of plays, especially because Arthur had a pretty bad down year compared to the previous season. But not much else we can say. Jack McGlynn came in like gunslinging already. Like he was just fantastic overall with with whatever he was being asked for, because he contributed. Kind of sucks that he got injured with a few games left in the season to try and see if we were able to like make one of the
A
last
playoff
playoff
push.
spots. But yeah, the miraculous playoff push. But
Yeah,
yeah, Jack McGlynn.
I'm surprised you didn't go Pablo Ortiz, but that's just me saying. You know, uh, yeah, obviously,
No.
Jack McGlynn is a great candidate. I think is a really good choice there. Shout out to you, Andres. Obviously, it's good to see that he produced what he produced, because obviously he was the biggest investment that the Dynamo made this past offseason. So you obviously want to make sure that those obviously go well. Those deals go well for the team, and the player that's coming in, it does get the opportunity to showcase his skills. Xespool, newcomer of the year.
Wow. I mean, yeah, no, I have to agree with Andres, but I'm gonna make it quick and short, and I think you guys will agree. On and off the field, McGlynn represented what Houston is about.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. He would not complain. He would just tuck his head in, put in the work, right? And he put in the work and he did great, right? He was greedy and all that. And plus, I'm biased to McGlynn, don't you know? You know? So it's gotta be McGlynn.
So
You remember that? I forgot. I'm so sorry, McGlynn. I forgot the game it was, but he actually turned around to the supporter section, looked dead at me, and he just went like this, dog. That my favorite player, no questions
Nice.
asked, best newcomer of the year.
yeah, that gave you movement in the bottom of your area.
Oh, bro, I felt tickly in places I have not felt tickly before.
Nah,
I'll
it's all
tell you
good.
that.
That's what you hope that
No,
players give to you, man. They give you that kind of that kind of movement that you don't
yeah.
expect. Uh, so
No,
obviously,
and he said it too. I'm sorry to cut you off. He said it too in an interview. He's like, Houston gave me a lot of love, and I got a lot of love for Houston, right?
yeah,
Because yeah, we accepted him, and we were just on him, and he loves the city, and he looks like he plays like he loves the city.
for sure, for sure. So just not to not hop on the same bandwagon. Obviously, I agree with you guys. Jack McGlynn is obviously the newcomer of the year, but I guess just to give recognition to somebody else who came in, I'm gonna say Felipe Andrade, somebody who came in, started off with Dynamo Dos, and and then obviously when an opportunity was given to him, he grabbed the bull by the horns, and he took full advantage of it, and basically never went back. Was never sent back down, and obviously at the end of the day became our starting left back. Played a little bit of starting right back, played a little bit of center back, and not only did that, scored goals on off corner kicks and set pieces, which obviously is a great showing for any kind of defender to get their head on the ball and score those goals. And he just made a great impact. So obviously I do agree with you guys, Jack McGlynn, but consolation to Felipe Andrade. I don't think you guys disagree with me on that. I think we all can
Mm-mm.
agree on those two guys being number one and number two when it comes to newcomers of the year for this year. I think G Money on the chat says Jonathan Bond is newcomer or MVP. I mean, look,
The other one, the other Comer.
So
Y'all will get it later.
yeah. So well, anyways,
Come on,
yeah.
guys, he's trash.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jonathan Bond came through in a time period that obviously we were having a goalkeeper pandemic, and we were losing goalkeepers left and right.
I don't want to hear the goalkeeper pandemic because we had Gilly, and Gilly was doing great. And
Yeah,
there, y'all can roll the tape,
Yeah,
okay? So, Team Gilly all the way,
all the
you
way.
know, all the way, bro.
Yeah.
So,
hey,
um,
The
that
killing
if
game.
suit.
he would have played at least half the season, he would have been newcomer of the year for one reason and one reason only. When we needed him, he made the stops he needed to make, and that's the only reason I didn't mention him.
I agree. I'll do the same.
That
Yeah.
jersey looks great on you too, man. So
Oh yeah, I know. Thank you, Gilly. Hey, clip that chat. I'm
all
gonna
right.
send it to him later.
Let's go to our next category, and that would be Defender of the Year. Xespool, I'll go with you first on this one. Obviously, the defense wasn't the defensive juggernauts that we've come to know for the last 2 years, but I mean, obviously, there's still ups and
We
downs,
tried.
and yeah, they tried. I guess that's the word you can use. They tried. But what your thoughts on Defender of the Year, and why are you choosing that person?
Ooh, the only I would say Andrade. Andrade, it's a Andrade. It's a neck above everyone else. No les doy nada, and so I think he not only was he able to take over the spot, but who did he take over from? Escobar, bro. Escobar was a wrecking force on that side, and he was able to take it. He was able to produce the way Escobar produces, and he's just as hot-headed as Escobar too. But because Vyachenko was not healthy, um, and Femi and of course, Barlow were not working out for us, and you can see them being gone. I think Andrade was the best we had on defense
Yeah.
this year. And a close second, Griffin. Griffin, a close second, just because he had a drop from last year. You know,
Griffin Dorsey is second. Obviously, I know Andres is going to go Pablo Ortiz here, but let's hear from him, the man himself.
please.
Andres, your nominee for Defender of the Year is
Felipe Andrade, man. Like it. Of course, we had Griffin Dorsey back there, and like Xespool said, he had like a big drop compared to the previous season. And Andrade stepped up in the war situation that we had. We lost center backs left and right. Our line was changing every single week, and Felipe Andrade was the most consistent defender in the entire season. Like he was a good player to watch, a good prospect for the future for the Dynamo because he's a great fullback. As a center back, he is hit or miss at times, but I prefer him in the position that he is right now, and I look forward to seeing him with the team next year. I feel like it's going to be an improvement. He just needs that experience there to assist him because he's great. He's a baller, man. And he shows up.
yeah, for sure. Obviously he has the youth on his side as well. I mean, he's a young kid. So we hope that to obviously develop him and groom him, and possibly, hey, maybe he'll be sold to a bigger club like Mikael was to Palmeiras and et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see. Obviously, okay. Felipe Andrade, I agree with you, both of you guys. I guess just like I said, I just to kind of play devil's advocate and be the oddball here. I'm gonna draw a little mention out to Antonio Carlos, who unfortunately, I mean, he came kind of later on in the season, but he did really help stabilize at the end. that back line, as far as the center back that we've been missing to put alongside whether it would be Femi, Barlow, Ortiz, whoever, because obviously when Shevchenko was out, that was the thing that really hurt the back line, the leadership, and Antonio Carlos brought that with the last third of the season. And obviously, if had he been brought in a little bit earlier, we might have won some of those games. We might have tied some of those games. We might have gained a little bit more points than what we had. So, but I mean, obviously, that wasn't possible. But hey, shout out to Antonio Carlos for stabilizing the line at the end. What's going on, Cesspool?
I think the situation with Carlos, he was just too new. But as you can see, the year coming up, he's going to be one of them. He's projecting to be the starter with Shevchenko. Um, and it looks like they paired well in the few games that they play. So I'm excited to see how that chemistry is going to help build up. And then if you have Dorsey and then Andrade on the sides, Andrade can learn so much because he can also play CDM. So I'm CDM, CB. So at the end of the day, uh, I'm not very happy we kept somebody like Antonio Carlos, but I mean we got to do what we got to do with what we have, and he wasn't particularly bad.
I mean, look, the offseason is coming. He's there, right? He's on a team right now, but I mean, obviously he could be our third center back. Who knows? Because
And
obviously,
he could be a very good backup too, like
yeah,
you
for sure,
mentioned,
for sure, for sure. So we have newcomer of the year, Jack McGlynn. We have defender of the year, Felipe Andrade. Obviously, the next category is Golden Boot, and obviously we know who the winner is of that. But let's talk about a little bit about our number 10, Ezekiel Ponce. Andres, I'll start with you on this one. Ezekiel Ponce, 10 goals in Major League Soccer, 2 goals in the U.S. Open Cup, 12 goals overall for the number 10 in orange. Your thoughts on Ezekiel Ponce, and what you look forward to see, and what you're looking forward to seeing him out of him for next season.
This season, I felt more so bittersweet about Ezequiel Ponce because he could have scored more goals than the goals that he scored. Like, there were games that gave me shades of Cubo Torres, man. And I was like, oh man, I hate that. I hate that so much because
I'm
there
saying
were so many instances that, like, granted, he was able to recover in those positions where, like, he was given the ball. He was given that type of service, and inside the box, man, he can't stop like shooting it straight to the keeper or just like on the frame in most occasions. And I know that it's pretty difficult, but we go back to he's our most expensive signing in team history and all that. His expectations are high still, but I'm more so glad that he's able to find that scoring groove. Of course, next year there's gonna be more goals expected out of him because if the service that assuming that we provide that type of service this offseason, he has to prove us wrong again because I hated what I saw this year because
Yeah.
I want him to score all the goals, but especially in the second half of the season, I was like, bro, he's gonna shoot it straight to the keeper. I'm gonna hate it, and he kept doing it, man. Like,
You know,
he has to do better.
what's funny? The fact that you brought up Eric Cubo Torres, and obviously Cubo Torres is we had him for 3 years. Those first 2 years didn't score a single goal, but that third year, once he got legit wingers
Whoa.
in Kyoto and Elise, 14 goals in one season. It's a complete change and difference when you have service and players who can provide services. So I mean, it would be great to see the Dynamo pick up somebody like with a kind of crossing abilities like a Kyoto, or at least when they came in and helped Kubo, deliver the ball and give him passes to score those 14 goals he scored that last season he played with us. But Xespool, your thoughts on Ezekiel Ponce, and obviously what you're expecting out of him for next season?
I'm very conflicted because I mean he's the top scorer by 4 goals, which is a good amount. But at the same time, we had a bigger expectation uh, for him. Now, granted, I will say not all of it is his fault. You're right.
Definitely
We
not.
don't have players that can actually cross the ball. If you notice, Anali is a winger, but Anali cuts to the inside. Uh, Quinones is going to do the same, and so McLean was playing in the middle. So we really didn't have anybody that would cross the ball. So we do need true wingers. And so a player like Ponce is not really fitted for a team. Maybe on the pressing side because he's a really good presser and he runs. He does put in the work, but it's not beneficial to you if you don't have a player that can actually deliver him the ball and score. And the Dynamo was expecting him to make a lot of plays, and he's not a playmaker. He's a postman. He's a guy of presence. and they were. I don't think he was being fed balls this season enough for him to score more.
I like how you said that, you had higher expectations for him. And I think overall we had higher expectations for the whole team, you know. And the
Yep.
thing is, obviously he's going to be the main focal point because he is the like Andres said, our world class, our world record breaker as far as transfer fee comes, and obviously where he's played before and how much he's scored in different leagues. What we're expecting out of him.
Hmm.
It's obviously it's one of those things where obviously he's going to be the focal point of the attack. And like I said, yes, there was a lot of games where I felt that he could have scored had he not headed the ball straight to the goalkeeper and things of that nature. And obviously, but like I said, it's a lackadaisical way of looking at things as far as putting it all on number 9, because I think obviously, like I said, Bonte could have scored a lot more, but I think the team could have helped him a lot more as far as
Yeah, I
delivering
agree.
and giving him the space to attack within the box, because he was being swallowed up by defenders. I mean, honestly,
No,
that
Yeah.
and we don't have we have a team full of playmakers, bro.
yeah,
Like we don't have players that can deliver him the ball. And if we have too many playmakers, we have Sebas Basi
we got
more at the
we got too
time,
many of the
you
same
know.
type of player.
And they were not helpful to him.
Yeah,
They were not
Probably
challenging
need
the defense. They're not a presence to the defenders. They can toss Basi around and Seba. You
yeah.
know?
yeah.
But
I'll probably grab another an alley or two to help us there.
yeah, for sure. I
But you
mean,
need wingers, not
yeah,
inside
yeah.
forwards.
I
Right.
kind of have to agree with Cesspool here. I mean, obviously, I love Inali, and obviously, we'll see what Keona's
Oh,
can do.
he's great.
But obviously, they're introverted wingers. They're not really as far as like those that are gonna cross and give those crosses and stuff like that. Because I think Ezekiel is an above average scorer with his head. He's a good header. He does get up there and he does put his head in, and he's not scared to go after that ball and head it into the goal. So that's one of the positives that we do have with that, But obviously, like I said, aside from the set pieces and the free kicks and the corner kicks, we need to have that type of ability available to him on the open play, not just when it's a set piece or whatever. But shout out to Ezekiel Ponce on his first full season with the Dynamo. Obviously, getting to double digits goal scoring in MLS. Only a few Dynamo players have done that. Obviously, we mentioned Cubo Torres, Brian Ching, and Mato Manotas and Albert Elise are the others who have done that in Dynamo history. So, I mean, obviously, he has made it to an quote unquote elite company as far as Dynamo goal scoring players have come and gone in the past. So, shout out to Ponce for that. MVP, guys. Obviously, MVP can mean different things to a lot of different people. Sometimes MVP can mean the person who scored the most goals. MVP can be the vocal leader who people follow and who would run through a wall for. And sometimes MVP is just the overall best player above all everybody else, regardless of what it is, because you can tell that this player is totally different from all the other cats. Cesspool, I'll start with you on this one. MVP for you this year for the Dynamo.
Oh, man, this is this is gonna be a different one. Um, I will say Eric Zviachenko. He's the MVP for the Dynamo. Guys, they're I don't give a how y'all
Yeah.
feel because check
You
this
gotta
out.
expand on that. All right.
Yeah,
Hear
yeah,
me
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Hear me out.
Every time he got in the game, the Dynamo was super solid on defense. Did our buttholes not relax when he was in the field? Yes, I think so. Him being on the field is a huge presence. He had to take Arthur's role, and he did it while he was hurt. In my opinion, he is, and even then we extended him another year. Yeah, everybody is going to say Jack McGlynn, and I would agree. But Jack McGlynn was in the field a lot of the times we lost, and he couldn't help it. I mean, I understand. But when Eric was in the field, we looked different. Towards the end of the season was a whole different ballgame. He was hurt, all that. I still stand with them. I'm just fucking with y'all guys. I think the number one the MVP this season was actually the crowd. I want to give a huge
Yeah,
shout out. I want to give a huge shout out to all the supporters because when it comes to the team, we all know it's McGlynn. He's gonna take it. He's the MVP of the team. But when it comes to the actual MVP of the season, it was every single one of us that showed up because the team was not performing well. We lost every single game that we could at home. I mean, not every, but just about.
It
And
felt
we
that
were
way.
still
It felt
there.
that way.
Yeah, it felt that way, and we were still there. So to all of y'all, to the Surge, to El Batallón, to Texian Army, Bandera Negra, all those guys are the real MVPs, and every single one of those season ticket holders because they were still there no matter what. That's my humble opinion, but because of all of this, I would say McLean.
Spoken like a true supporter in Xespool, obviously, Xespool is kind of one of those what do you call it? Unauthorized
Unofficial.
or
I'm an official supporter. I'm an
unofficial supporter
I'm a
of the supporters. He's the
authorized supporter to say something about the team
he
because I'm there, just like a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
y'all. But
for sure. He's the unauthorized or unofficial spokesman for the supporters. Let's say that he's our mascot.
I wasn't saying Ziachenko, guys. I was just fucking with y'all.
All right,
Yeah, I gave it away in the beginning.
Andres, MVP for you, my guy.
pretty much what Xespool said. Like the fans are the MVP for this year. I resonate with everything Xespool said. On top of the fact that we had to endure the worst home record in club history. We were coming to the offseason with a lot of hope out of the front office because despite the lack of movement to start the year, and despite the fact that we've been leaving a lot of gaps unfilled, a lot of us were in the stadium cheering for the team. Of course, like spending our time and money as always to support them, man, because they gave us a ton of hope after two fantastic seasons, and fans were pretty much left with this product to endure for like a full year, because we got some good wins, especially on the road, which is great, but at home we
We
had
sucked.
instances, yeah, and instances we had that we didn't show up, absolutely defeated, and honestly, it gave a lot of shame to the fans, the people that have spent so many years, especially in the last decade, to go through this again. So the fans are the MVP, man. On the field, Jack McGlynn. I mean, not much else you can say about that. I mean, if Lawrence Finale was available the full year, it was probably going to be Lawrence Finale, just based on the production that he had to offer, like after his injury, after recovering. But Jack McGlynn, man, not much else to say.
For sure. Obviously, that's a real sentimental choice. Obviously picking out the supporters and the fans and things like that, especially when you had such a disappointing season like you did this season. Because I think at the beginning of the year we had such high hopes going in because of what we had accomplished the two previous years. Obviously, it being the 20th anniversary of the club's existence and all that stuff going in, it just kind of seemed like the perfect storm as far as to have a big season, but then obviously it all came crumbling down kind of right off the bat as soon as the season started, with the sale of Mikael, not bringing back Hector Herrera, the sale of Coco Carrasquilla to Pumas, and obviously the injury to Eric Shevchenko and things of that nature. It's just a lot of things that didn't go the Dynamo way, and unfortunately, with all that, and then obviously with the lackluster offseason that they had as far as bringing in players, this is the type of season that we end up with. But obviously, through the ups and downs, like we always say when we end the show, I mean, we're always going to hold it down for H Town,
Hold it down.
and that's what the supporters did, and that's what the fans did, that's what the season ticket holders did, and shout out to you guys because, like Andres said, I mean, this was not only did we experience such a horrible season, we experienced the worst home season of our club's history. We've never been that horrible at home as far as gaining points or winnings and stuff like that. But yet the fans and the supporters were still out there, rain, shine, all that good stuff, still out there supporting, banging the drums, doing the chants, yelling, and all that good stuff. So shout out to you guys for showing that and for keeping the home crowd in it, as far as just being there supporting the club during this dismal time. And like I said, I think that the front office and obviously the ownership group and all this stuff see that, and hopefully they say, you know what, we need to put our foot in the ground, and we need to give this city the club that they deserve, and we need to thank them for what they endured last season, because they didn't deserve to go through that. But with that being said, go ahead, Xespool.
I wanted to ask you, since we have a little bit of time, I'm gonna throw y'all a little curveball.
All right.
Out of all the players, who was the most improved in your opinion?
Okay, that's a good one. But let me get to my MVP first, and then we'll do that. We can
Oh
do that.
yeah. Let's do your
Yeah.
my bad.
No, it's all good. I like that though. I like that. So my MVP, obviously, a lot. Everybody's gonna say Jack McGlynn and this and that. And again, like I said, Jack McGlynn is for sure the representative here and all that good stuff. And shout out to him, his first full season as far as being a starter on the team. Obviously the call ups to the U.S. men's national team is another another check off the box and type of moment. I think he scored nine goals overall in all competitions for us. I want to say he had double digit assists. I'm not sure. I got to check that. So I mean, obviously that's a great first season as far as a player from of his age, coming up the way he came up, and then obviously being traded to the Dynamo realistically like a week before the season started, so like a week or two before the season started. So for him to come in and acclimate himself as quickly as he did, it took a little bit of bump on the road in the beginning, but he got there and then he showcased. And then obviously if he does come back next season with us, which we hope he does, because obviously you want to keep players of good caliber on your team to grow and progress and to improve the club. Hopefully he can improve on those numbers and obviously do it more frequently. And obviously we know he'll be playing if he's available for the USA men's national team for the FIFA World Cup. But yeah, shout out to Jack McGlynn. I think unanimously our MVP for this year for the Dynamo, and shout out to our number 20. But with that being said, I like what Xespool brought to the table, most improved player. Man, that's an interesting category, and thank you, Xespool, for that contribution. I guess who do you want to go first for that?
Lawrence and Ali. Lawrence and Ali. You know what most improved player is? And then by the definition is who overcame a severe injury.
Oh, are you thinking more comeback player?
I'm messing with you. No, me. No, me. For example, I would say Gilligan. He is the most improved player because when he first started, the first game that he started, he played horrible. And game after game, he played better until they benched him for no reason.
Well, I mean, yeah, I see that. I mean, it's one of those things where obviously he was a true rookie. I think this is his first rookie season with the Dynamo, and obviously he wasn't expected to be anywhere close to the first team this season. But obviously because of the injuries that we inquired, he was brought to the fire, and he did show up, and he did step up to the plate for those 5. I think it was 5 games in the season. So shout out to Blake. And for doing
close second would be Ortiz. One of the more regular players will be Pablo Ortiz.
Oh wow, Pablo. Okay.
Andres he started he was kind of shaky in the beginning, but he had some very good games, especially with Andrade playing CB. Didn't we get a win away with Andrade on him?
I think that was a U.S. Open Cup game.
Yeah. So again, I think he was the most improved player. I don't think we should have kept him. But What can we do? But he would be the contender for me.
There
Who
you
would
go.
you think?
You want me to go? Most improved for me, I guess. For me, it would have to have been.
It doesn't have to be a player that stayed with us, but
Well, I mean, I would prefer to choose one that stayed that's with us. I mean, I think somebody who improved throughout the season obviously was Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn, did a really great job from the beginning all the way to the end. I think obviously he had big shoes to fill as far as covering the shoes of Coco, and then obviously and things of that nature. And he came in and he did his thing. I mean, he's not as offensive equipped as Coco, but I mean, I think he was able to do the job that he was given. He made no mistakes. He was really, really, really good on the ball as far as making sure that he doesn't lose possession. I think that he, for his age, showed really, really true dynamic skills as far as being able to hold the ball down and not lose it and not lose possession, and keep the ball moving forward for the attack, even though the attacking opportunities weren't a lot. But I mean, he wasn't the reason why the Dynamo failed in that aspect. So, I
no,
think
that was a team effort for sure.
yeah, yeah. So I think Brooklyn Reigns would have to be my most improved player for me for this season. Andres?
Yes, Brooklyn Reigns is my pick for most improved player, and you could have definitely noticed that at the start of the year when he was getting more opportunities compared to previous seasons, and just slowly but surely getting acclimated into Benel's system. I would have I would have picked Blake Gillingham if he had more minutes. Of course, I also felt like he was unfairly sat whenever they're running a Jonathan Bond. I feel like he was going to be like a good candidate for that spot, and I feel like
Mhm.
he could have been like a good number one for the rest
If
of the season.
anything,
But
I'm sorry to get you. If anything, you felt like
yeah,
Bond was a panic buy at the time,
Well, I
more
because
mean, when you
so.
when you when you lose two goalkeepers right off the bat like the way you did, and you're depending on a true rookie, yeah, it is a panic buy.
Yeah,
with that being said, how many games did he play? 3 or 4 games. Like,
It was five.
amazing,
I think it was
bro.
5 games. It was 5 games.
Five. So see, and he was doing great. He could have held it down until Mara came back. My
But see,
opinion.
I think it was just circumstances because you already had the back line already with the rookie and Femi. You already had Shevchenko out. You had a lot of uncertainties. So that they kind of I can see why they brought in a veteran like Bond because they wanted a little bit of stability. But obviously, it's just one of those things where what he would did
They actually
what if Blake made a big difference on the overall season? Obviously, we don't know because obviously he only played 5 games, and he
yeah,
wasn't given the necessary amount of time. But I mean, but
he was in the
it's
up.
but it's tough. It's tough to make a call like that because I mean, if the season is going down the crap of the way it was, and then you're having a real rookie, not just a oh he's been with the Dynamo Dos. No, he was a true rookie come in, someone that you did not expect to even have a minute on the first team, to be thrown to that situation. It's one of those things where you just don't expect that as a club,
Yeah,
and you have to go do what's best for the club, and obviously Jonathan Bond, who has experience in MLS and has experience in the championship level as far as English soccer goes. If he was available, you brought him in, and um, was he the best goalkeeper? Obviously not, but I mean, but a lot of those situations weren't his fault. The back line was makeshift, and we had a lot of injuries, and there was a lot of miscommunication, and obviously a lot of new faces playing together. So it's a little mixture of everything. I mean, I think Jonathan Bond, while in my opinion isn't the best goalkeeper that we can possibly have, but I think given an offseason with to play with the with the back line or whatever, I do hope to see improvement. But we'll see. Time will tell. Anything else you want to add, guys? Before I had if y'all do remember, I had a question I wanted to ask y'all that I mentioned in the beginning of the show, and it has to do with the MLS playoffs that's going on right now. So I mean, unless there's anything else about the Dynamo that y'all want to speak on,
yeah.
go ahead,
Uh,
Andres.
oh, like shout out to OSG because he did vote for tonight's consolation trophies.
Oh, that's right.
He did. Yeah, newcomer of the year for him was Jack McGlynn. Defender of the year was Felipe Andrade, and MVP was Pablo Ortiz. No, I'm joking. It was Jack
Oh.
McGlynn.
Oh,
Jack McGlynn.
of
Jack
course,
McGlynn.
man.
Yeah.
Of course, he hates us. He hates the crowd. I mean, that's why he's over there in the press booth with you. I'm messing with you.
Yeah.
I'm
Nah,
messing
it's
with
all
you,
good.
SG. No,
Shut up.
wait. Honestly, McGlynn was miles ahead of everybody. Shout out
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
OSG. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, shout out to OSG. Wherever you're at, hopefully you're taking a look, or hopefully you're having a drink in our honor. But with that being said, the question that I had, obviously, it's MLS playoffs. I don't know, man. This first round of the MLS playoffs to me is too long. I mean, this having to win 2 games out of 3, and the way you win it, it's too long for
Just
me, man.
fishy.
It's too gimmicky. Like the whole, hey, you got to win this game, and if you don't win it, you got to go to penalties, and then blah blah blah, and then if you play the next game, like let's just go back to the home and away, the aggregate, because this is just like to go 3 games. Like it's literally been 2 weeks we've had the MLS playoffs, and we're still in the first round.
Yeah. It's
Kid you not,
ridiculous.
like as a casual fan of soccer, because I love watching soccer regardless if it's my team playing or whatever, this is not right. I get frustrated with the fact that game 2 means literally nothing sometimes, because the other team says, you know what, we'll let them have it because we can go back home and win it at home in front of our fans. And it's like, that doesn't leave a good taste in me. And then on top of that, that third game is 2 weeks, is literally 2 weeks away from the first game, from game 1. Yeah, so it's like, dude, like this, like it takes away the excitement. Obviously, there's excitement in the playoffs because you have Messi, you have Mueller, you have Son, you have these big names in the playoff that are chasing this MLS Cup. But at the end of the day, man, it's just like, dude, like I just don't like it, man. Am I the only one here? Or Andres, do you disagree? Do you agree with me? Disagree?
I agree, man. Like, it drags it out. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it feels like a full month of only the first round of best of 3 series, which is just like, obviously they're doing this to have like more games in the playoff inventory to try and pump up the numbers and all that. But it's so ridiculous because like the start of the playoffs, and okay, cool, playoffs. Then one week passes by, it's like, oh no, they only play 1 game and they have to go to the second one. Okay, cool. Second game, they tie the series and they have to wait like another full week just so they can play the third game. And it's like, that's 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks already, and we haven't gone to the next round. So it's like, it doesn't only like tire the players more. It doesn't. It also has to go straight to penalty kicks if it goes to a tie to all the games. The one thing that doesn't make sense to me is that in the other rounds, they don't have best of 3. It's only one and done. So it's like, you should stay consistent and do like home and away, like
For the first 2
like
rounds.
2 legs,
Yeah.
like 2 legs, like for the entire thing. I felt like that was a good structure already.
Mhm.
But like, it's like you said, like it drags it out. It's annoying. Like it's kind of confusing for new like people that are watching MLS.
Yeah.
The structure is odd. Like it's really comfortable, honestly.
Yeah, and to me, I'll come and I'll ask you the same question as Xespool, but for me, it takes away the excitement, because like granted, like the excitement about the playing game with the 8th and 9th seed is that game is, whoever wins that game goes into the playoff, right? So that game means a lot. So you play that one game, you win it, you're into the playoffs. Great atmosphere, whatever, blah blah, because it's a win or go home game. But like, to have this, just this funky third game out there that you play against, like you're literally going 2 weeks seeing the same team, and it's like, dude, it's just, there's no, I just don't find the the excitement in it. Unfortunately, because it's just too spread out. Cesspool, what are your thoughts on it, man?
Oh no, bro. I kind of don't think about those things because they're necessary evil. Yeah, it drags it out. But let's be real, they really don't care much about the spectacle or the effect on the sport. It's more on the economic side, extra tickets, extra
Yeah.
game,
Well, yeah, but I
and
mean,
and then not only that, but to accommodate the timing towards the end of the season, they have to switch to one game. I'm gonna tell you this much: the MLS is so sold on that structure that they've even had talks with Liga MX, and they're gonna start doing that in their play-ins starting next year. Or there's talks about doing that. So it's a very successful model apparently for the MLS,
but
and they're
see,
bringing it to
but,
Mexico.
but see, that's
And
that.
I agree with you. I agree with you
I,
though,
I
one
feel
hundred
it's
percent.
I feel it's a cop out because, like Andres said, instead of having 3 games in the first round, why don't you and have one game for the next round? Why don't you have 2 and 2? You know,
Because
home.
three games on a team that had no hope and now is clinging on to their life means a lot to the fans showing up to that stadium.
Well, I mean, but you're still
Because
gonna
we
have
were we
the.
were in that position last year.
Well, I know, but I'm saying, but you're still doing a home and away. If you're that if you're that underdog team, you're still gonna have the one game to try to win on aggregate. But what I'm saying is, like, then why is the next round just one knockout game?
Because of
And
the calendars. That's
but that's
that's the only reason why. Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying.
and but I
They're not,
guess economically it makes more sense to do three games in the first round than and then do or die on the next ones.
that doesn't make
That's what
sense
the
to me,
only
to
thing.
be honest.
And it's a very MLS thing, like the shootouts.
Like
It's
I
some
said,
it's something
it's a
sets
gimmicky
us
thing
apart.
that
Yeah,
it's a gimmicky
Yeah.
thing that kind of to me personally, it leaves a bad taste to me as far as trying to improve the league. Like, look, I
yeah.
know, I know in the beginning when they had the little whatever PK shootout, whatever to win the game or whatever, when the goalie can run up against the goalkeeper, whatever the hell they call that shit, you know, that
The
I
run-on
get it
penalties. Yeah.
because I get it because you're trying to bring eyes to the league, right? You're trying to bring eyes to the league, you're trying to do something different. But now that you're an established league of what 30 years now, like, dude, come on, like, get back to the basics. Like, people from Europe don't want to come over to this league and know and be like, yo, how do I win a trophy here? Like, you telling me I gotta play the same thing 3 times and win two, and in that span I gotta wait 2 weeks before I can go to the next round? Like, like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if the playoff is a
Yeah.
tournament, every tournament that's played around the world in soccer is a home and an away. Home and away, home and away. Just do it like that. What's up?
You want to see how sold we are on shit that doesn't make sense as a league? And
Well,
I don't think this will ever change. And like G Money pointed this out actually, and it is true though. I mean, maybe the MLS will consider this once they move to a European schedule. But bro, the MLS is 30 years old, and we have not switched to a fucking European schedule.
well, yeah, but that's because we face the unfortunate thing of where we have 4 other sports that they play top level here in this country.
Yeah, and
Like,
until we start treating us like
you don't
king,
you don't you don't have top level basketball in England. You don't have top level baseball in Spain. You don't have top
you
level.
do.
Well, no. I mean, yeah, but not the highest level. The NBA is the highest level.
Oh, for
The the
sure.
the NFL is the highest level. The MLB is the highest level. But, like, where MLS is literally an infant child of soccer going up against grown ass leagues that happen to be the number one leagues in the world, all in the same country. So that's the reason why that schedule is the way it is right now. But
And
look,
that's why that the same reason because we're a small league, immature league, like or a childish league is the reason why we have three games instead of only
but
one.
I mean, but like I said, again,
It's such a drag, yeah, I know.
it's it, it's
Especially
it's
when we're not in it.
it's a,
That's why I'm
it,
mad.
it's a drag. Like literally, LAFC and Vancouver beat Austin and Vancouver 2 weeks ago already. beat Austin and Frisco almost a week ago. We have to wait another week for those two to play for everybody else to catch up because everybody else went to game 3. You know, so it's so those clubs stay stagnant, and they can't do nothing about it. So it's I don't know, man. Just I was watching the games, and I'm like, man, dude. I mean, obviously, I knew that the same format was last year when the Dynamo were in it, whatever, and this and that. And I didn't agree with it at all last year either. Like I said, this the 2 years before it as well, because it's just stagnant, man. Like if you need to go to a penalty shootout in the second game because aggregate score is 3-3, go to a penalty shootout. Do what you gotta do. But 2 games should be enough. Home and away, home and away, home and away. But that's just my little thing that kind of grind my gears a little bit about this playoffs. I just happened to be chilling watching Apple TV in the playoffs, and I was like, dude, like what the hell? What are we doing?
At least Austin lost.
It takes too long.
Well, yeah, Austin. Ironically,
Fuck
Austin
those guys,
and
by the way,
are the first 2 eliminated, which is obviously where we applaud that, but. Like, I'm really looking forward to seeing LAFC play Vancouver, Like, honestly, I want to see how Sun and them do against Mueller and those guys. And then, obviously, with the artificial turf, and all this stuff. But, I mean, we're not going to see the artificial turf because there's only 1 game. Well, no, hold on. No, Vancouver is the home team. So we will see the artificial turf, But then LAFC doesn't get the opportunity to come back home because it's just 1 game.
You want to know that the cool thing about it? I know Vancouver is going to win that series, and it's going to be cool that LA couldn't beat Vancouver there, and we did. Yeah, that shows you how much better we are than LA.
Wait, did we beat them?
Yeah, it was a slugfest. We won 4-3. Remember?
Last year.
No, that was last year though. This year
Don't matter.
That was the Mueller debut. That was the Mueller debut.
Hey, bro, we don't talk about that, okay? This year didn't happen, okay? Last year is this year, okay?
All right. Well, guys, we're a little bit over an hour now, so now we're just kind of rambling on. But with everything else, Andres, let the people know where they can find us.
At Dynamic Foxtrot on X, Instagram, and Blue Sky. We also have a separate handle called Noodle Tiempo on X. Just making sure you guys are covered, especially in the off season when it comes to Dash, Dynamo, and those. Of course, we do have a big thank you to everyone that's been watching on Foxtrot TV tonight, and also recorded here and also in other podcast platforms. Of course, G Money, thank you so much for engaging in the chat. Just Strong, of course, shout out to you. Omar Mesa, shout out, and everyone that's been tuning in over the course of the night. Thank you so much once again. Hopefully we got a big off season coming up, a ton of announcements, so we can talk about it. But like Mark said earlier in the episode, depending on the news cycle, like the release schedule for episodes and the live streams might change a little bit over the course of the off season. So, of course, we do our best to announce it as early as possible so you guys can tune in. And the other thing, of course, is the secret Arbor Fleece bobblehead giveaway that is still coming up. So you have to stay tuned to my Twitter. Sarah gives you instructions on how to win it. But the password, as always, is going to be Rashid Olabiji. So the people that have been tuning into the end of episodes to get the password, that's going to be the password. Nobody else is going to know it, and you're going to be receiving the instructions pretty soon. So Rashid Olabiji is going to be the password for the Arbor Fleece bobblehead, and yeah, it's good.
Nice little bobblehead there. Guys, Xespool, again, thank you for coming up again with us, guys. 2 weeks in a row, we appreciate you, and obviously we know, like we spoke last week, we expect to see a little bit more of you next season and all that good stuff. Like Andres and I myself mentioned earlier, we are going into the off season. Obviously we will be trying to get on as frequently as possible. Hopefully a lot more times with the news, and hopefully having big off season news and rumors and stuff like that pop up. Hopefully Pat and Asher in the front office give us a reason to hop on for the offseason more frequently than not, so we'll be crossing our fingers on that standpoint. But with that being said, obviously through the offseason, in-season, off-season, post-season, whatever season, we're always going to hold it down for H-Town, for the Dynamo and Dash. Shout out to all you guys. Like I said, thank you for the great for the great 2025, even though the season didn't go the way we wanted to. Shout out to all you guys for hanging out with us. And obviously, we're looking forward to a big 2026. And yeah, for sure. Hold it down for H-Town.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Stay noodle.